What is going on, guys? My name is cosmovsgoku, and I am joined by
TwstdFlaems, hello.
And we are back with episode 4? 1, 2, 3, 4. Episode 4 commentary for Naruto Full Arc Abridged. This is the Chuunin Exam Finals.
It is.
Where you have such classic battles as Shino versus Kankuro and Shikamaru versus Tamari. That we definitely include.
Totally included. Did not skip them in any way, shape or form.
Now, for a bit of context, this was the third script we wrote.
Yes.
Or 3N. What we did with this episode as we were going through is we realized that we needed to split it. And we'll talk a little bit more about that as we get towards the end of the episode, but it allowed us to have a little bit more freedom with the length of this episode.
Yep.
I miss having 11-minute episodes. And allowed us to do some more things with Konoha Crush next that we wouldn't have been able to do otherwise, trying to compress it down. So before we jump in, this episode released back in 2020. And it was the second last episode we released before we took a brief hiatus because we couldn't get together with anyone.
Yep, because of COVID restrictions.
Yep. And it's quite a fun episode. It's the first time we probably see Neji do anything. Yep. It's got one of my favorite hidden Easter eggs, which was a pitch by impolitebi.
It's a good one.
It's got my favorite line of Neji's in part 1, aside from his catchphrase.
Yep.
And yeah, like I'm praising Neji a lot but Neji got a lot of screen time in this episode, so
yes.
Big focus. And it's also got one of my favorite lines of yours. Two of my favorite lines of yours.
Okay.
Yeah. Alrighty, so you ready to jump in?
Yep, let's do it.
Alrighty, episode 4 commentary. The Chuunin Exam preliminary that is such a fucking mouthful. The Finals Abridged.
The following is a non-profit fan-based parody.
With the intro done by Neji.
Naruto Next Generations are all owned by Masashi Kishimoto, Shueisha.
Really glad that we added the white outline to that.
And TV Tokyo.
It was terrible
before.
before.
Yeah.
Naruto, what is your business here? Where's Sasuke?
You'll be saying that for years.
Because that's all he does. That's his entire character throughout Shippuden. Where is
100%.
Sasuke? Define Sasuke.
No, you're depressed.
This is the introduction of Jiraiya.
I'm going to be training Ketchup.
Yeah.
Teaching you lightning blade to take on Gaara. You, on the other hand, will be trained by the man who...
I think by this point, Pythonixx had really started to fall into character with Naruto.
The old man has a grandson?
And I think it really shows.
Third Hokage. He is a saint. Outside. Now.
With... Oh, hang on.
Do.
With Ebisu, I learnt something about anime characters.
What's that?
When characters push up their spectacles, what that sound effect is. Because there's no sound effect. Like if you push up your glasses now, up your nose, no sound, yeah? But in anime, there's that sound. I figured out what that sound is. It's the arms of the spectacles. Clacking.
That noise?
Yeah.
Huh.
Like so that's what we did, and it worked perfectly.
There we are.
We didn't really have any idea about what kind of voice we wanted to do for Ebisu when we cast RisingAvenged in the role. So when
He's also such like a one-note character that's in the series for like 2 seconds.
Yeah,
It's
exactly.
like here, and then...
Invasion of Pain.
Invasion of Pain.
Yeah.
And that's his entire thing.
Yeah. So I kind of just let him do whatever voice he wanted to, and I think the voice he picked is just perfect. Like, it's just so outside. Now, how do you even... I don't know where he came up with it, so I love that voice, and I love what he does with the character.
What are we doing here? More to the point, you're the best Kakashi could find to train me?
It's simple, really. Kakashi has hedging always.
Also, we
hedging
realized,
Sasuke,
working on this, that
including
we shouldn't have cut Ebisu from early on,
whereas
because it
I
brought us into a hole
control
here.
your hormonal
But we had to
impulses.
introduce him.
Doesn't
Yeah.
make any sense.
You'll understand when you're older.
So that sound, the gross sound,
Yep.
RisingAvenged does that with his mouth.
Phrasing?
Sounded
Phrasing?
in my head. So he does this thing with his cheek, where he just moves.
Sort of like a...
Yeah. Yeah, he does that, and he does it stupid well. And he first did it for a one-off joke back in the FMA days when he played the Fyodor Kim Bradley. And I asked him to bring it back here for Jiraiya's introduction. And yeah, it's a weird sound, it's a gross sound, but I'm glad the sound exists.
Hey, you! How dare you steal my keeping spot? Some ninjutsu!
Should we just pause the space bar, I think.
Whoa, who's this guy?
I am the one, the only great Toad Sage
And that was also RisingAvenged.
Oh, nice.
Come Paradise and exceptionally attractive ninja, Jiraiya the Gallant! And Naruto, I've been asked to train you.
If you're wanting to pause, we can try spacebar for that.
Oh,
As
yeah.
opposed to doing the whole thing every single time.
Ah, yeah, let's spacebar. Spacebar's good. I like
Yeah.
spacebar.
You're like that, it does that, and then does that. There.
Huh. Well, you know.
Yeah.
So the reason we've got that extended pause though is because that's originally where the opening was going to be.
Okay.
But it just as part of the editing, it was just discovered that it works better to have it where it is.
Yep.
And RisingAvenged, poor bastard. Love him dearly. He struggled so much with saying the Great Toad Sage of Mount Myoboku.
Couldn't understand. It's a bloody mouthful to say.
Yeah, it is. It is. And he's got such a strong, broad Australian accent normally, compared to the rest of us, that he just kept getting tongue-tied over his accent and over the combination of consonants and vowels. And I don't know if he'd be pissed off about me saying this, but it took him 40 minutes to record that one line.
That's funny.
And it was the most difficulty we've ever had with recording a line. But now if I turn around to him and say, what are you the Great Toad Sage of? He says, Mount Myoboku. And he gets it. And he gets really pissed off at me whenever I ask him to do it as a joke. Just as pissed off as the fact that I've just realized I've got a massive pimple right here.
Oh, well.
Shit happens. Yay, 30s. But yeah, but I think RisingAvenged is fantastic in the role as Jiraiya, and yeah, very soon we'll be recording his last episode as Jiraiya as well.
Spoiler alert for that.
Oh yeah, Jiraiya dies.
Doesn't go that far, but alright.
So, if you're so great, why have I never heard of you before?
How have you never...
Yeah, right, okay, hang on.
Calling out all the fact that no one, like, Naruto doesn't know who the Sennin are. There's no way he wasn't taught about who the Sennin were.
Yeah, surely. Like,
Naruto's an idiot, so...
well, granted. But Jiraiya talks about it here in this particular line. But why wouldn't the Sannin be known throughout the world? It's like the whole Tsunade being a missing nin and therefore an international criminal.
Yeah.
Like, the ninja world doesn't make sense, and it feels... It's not a retcon, but it feels like it's retroactive continuity, even though it's not. Does that make sense?
It's retroactively made them more important than they are at their introductions, because at this stage he's just a random dude.
Yeah.
I don't think the Sannin concept is introduced until the search for Tsunade.
I don't think it is either, yeah.
And then it's introduced that it's him, Orochimaru, and Tsunade.
Yeah.
But even then, when Orochimaru is introduced, like, realistically something should have been mentioned about the fact that he was formerly one of the legendary Sannin.
And if it is in the manga and we've completely forgotten, I'm sorry. I haven't read part 1 for a long time. I haven't read part 1 since 2019, when we were writing this episode.
Yeah, I can't remember the last time I actually read a chapter of Naruto.
2014, when the manga ended.
when the manga finished, yeah. Yeah, I haven't gone back and reread that. I've got, like, the first friggin' things. I've got the
You've
first...
got up to 59, don't you?
Yeah, I went up to 59.
So you're only 13 volumes off.
Yeah. I may eventually get all them one day.
Maybe.
Maybe.
But yeah, Jiraiya pulls attention to that fact here, and I love it.
Oh, yeah. And bit of...
Gave you a huge introduction. Not to mention that I'm a Sannin, one of the most famous ninja in the world.
Right. Except, you write pornography, but that means nothing to me.
How dare you disrespect my income? One day, these books could save your life.
Yeah, if I need
Foreshadowing.
something to light
Yep.
a fire with.
Why am I even bothering with you?
Because you heard I can do this. Sexy jutsu.
And undermining that entire thing.
Yeah. I was not comfortable, just as a creative in the 21st century, including Jiraiya getting all nosebleedy about Naruto.
Yeah.
It's just weird. Like, it's so uncomfortable. And granted, like, 2001, 2002, when this was written... No. 1999, 2000, 2001. Like, whenever... Like, in there, when this was written, very different world. Very different...
To be fair, despite the fact that Naruto is 13, the body he got for Naruto was out of adult magazines.
Yeah.
Which means that the body he created... Like, and this is where the problem comes up. It's like, technically, the body generated by Naruto is the body of a girl that is at least legal age.
Yeah.
But Naruto himself is 13.
Yeah.
So...
I think we call him 12 here, but I
12, 13,
think he's
whatever.
13, actually.
Realistically, the number of times Naruto failed, he should have been at least, like, 15.
Yeah.
Like, he failed that, like, exam, like, 4 or 5 times.
Yeah.
He should have been way older. Also, Sasuke passed it earlier.
But they're the same
same age. So, Naruto, like, Sasuke should have been, like, 11 or 10.
Yeah.
Because right now, Sasuke's not a prodigy.
No,
He passed at the same time as Naruto and Sakura.
Yeah.
Who, at this time, like, Naruto, obviously, heritage-wise, is a very remarkable person, but this stage of Naruto is kind of a shit kicker.
Yeah.
Sakura is nothing special.
No.
Because she's not from a named house.
No.
So, Sasuke passing at the same time with them makes him look really bad compared to, like, Kakashi and Itachi.
Yeah.
Itachi became a Chuunin at, what, 6? Or passed the entrance exam at, like, 6.
And Kakashi was a Chuunin at a young age, at single digits as well, from memory.
They were both under 10 when they became Chuunin. Like, it's wild.
And then they were both in Anbu together.
Yep.
I'm going to come back to that when we do the episode 6 commentary, because that makes no sense. They should know who each other are in the original. Mm-hmm. But yeah, big uncomfortable with, like, and we write it into the script, but big uncomfortable with Jiraiya getting all nosebleedy about Naruto. Just shut it down. Let's move on. Also, what else new can we bring to that?
Yeah.
So just do a different spin on it.
Yeah, exactly. Also, we've cut 2 characters from this scene that were actually in the top 99.
Or was that from start of
I'm pretty sure
Search for Tsunade?
I don't think he looks in the bathhouse during Search for Tsunade.
Like,
It's
right at the
only-
beginning.
It's only the stuff where he's like I don't know. It's either from this or from Search for Tsunade, which is the 2 bathhouse girls.
Yeah.
Number 99 and number, like, 87 or something like that.
I am not surprised you know that.
I'm probably wrong on the second one, but 99 I'm pretty sure was...
Yeah, that was wild.
Karada?
Whatever.
Whatever her name was, yeah.
Oh, Mr. Jiraiya, please don't be mad at little old me.
ShyGhost doing this one?
Only
Yep.
12 and...
Pythonixx actually offered to do it.
Damn it.
But we'd already cast...
Teach me some old
ShyGhost.
school
Yeah.
jutsu.
Sure, but first,
Hey, whoa, what are you doing there, buddy?
5-pronged seal release!
Oh,
That should do it. Now you should be able to easily access the Nine-Tailed Fox's chakra without Orochimaru's seal getting in the way.
what the fuck? I wasn't having any trouble at all.
Well then, maybe I...
Literally, at that stage, he
Yeah.
hadn't had any problems.
Jutsu! Now I'm going to teach you summoning jutsu. Just sign this scroll, tap it, you accept the terms and
Struggled a lot
conditions,
with editing this scene, and I can't remember
sign
why.
here, and fingerprint there, and there.
There's probably a lot
Once
of
that's done,
fluff.
you'll be able to
Yeah.
release.
It's a lot of blood.
Whirly.
Yeah, can you pause it? So, with the into swirly, that was Pythonixx improvising.
I like that.
I'm like, well, let's just get like a and and then he gave me that brilliance, and I'm like, nah, we have to use that. That is how we have to do it.
Also, it would have been a perfect time in the actual series for them to have set up Minato Namikaze as the name before that one in the scroll.
It actually is.
Is it?
Yeah, he's actually on the scroll.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah, it's yeah.
I guess we don't know Minato's name at that point. He's just... Lord
Yeah,
Lord.
he's just a guy.
Yeah.
He's just some guy.
Just some guy.
Yeah, so, yeah. And this whole bit as well leads into the introduction of Kurama's first lines as well, which is changed from episode 1.
Because it was originally in episode 1.
Yep. Let's go.
Now, your turn.
Oh, stop, Ninetales.
And I love... how chill Naruto is with Kurama.
Yeah.
Straight off the bat.
Knows he's there.
And just a total reference to Kushina.
I'm about to die, and if I die, you die.
And I love RisingAvenged as Kurama.
Also, technically, the Ninetales doesn't die, it reincarnates, but, you know.
Wait until we get the buy-in mode.
Later. Summoning Jutsu!
Where the goddamn fuck am I?
So that is a reference to Naruto the Abridged series.
Was it?
Yeah, when, if I remember correctly, because I haven't revisited it for a long time, because, one, I wouldn't even know where to look on the internet for it, and B, I didn't want to risk stealing any of their jokes intentionally.
Yeah.
By Vegeta and Masako. When Gamabunta was summoned in that series, if memory serves correctly, he let out a expletive-laden rant. Or it was like, what the fuck? Or something like that.
Yeah. That
you know what I mean?
Yeah. I'm pretty sure I remember that.
And that was going to be referenced there. But also, and I don't know if you remember this or not, the frogs were going to be the only characters originally that swore.
Yes, originally.
And then Pythonixx dropped the F-bomb in episode 1. I was like, okay, well, that's out the window then. But that's why the frogs have more swears than anybody else, because that was the original intent.
Well, at this stage in the series.
Yes. And yeah, first named reference to Minato is right here as well.
Yep.
That kid, wow, he actually did it. He actually came on top.
Yeah.
Minato, you would be proud.
Why did you do this?
I don't know, but it sounded like a good idea at the time, and it was fun. I think it was to set up the Gara of the Funk joke.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
Which was another reference to them.
Yeah.
We will never take credit for that joke. That is definitely them.
That was... And having Dosu be the one to make that reference is also...
It made sense, because he was our Deadpool analogy.
Yes.
Allegory. Allegory.
Whatever.
Gara of the Funk. Green Day is overrated.
Breathing's overrated.
I'm sorry, what?
It's so weird that Kishi did this,
What do you mean?
where he wrote out Dosu like that.
Yeah, I think it was to hammer home, because we'd seen Dosu had been really powerful up until that point, and then Gara one-shots him.
Yeah, but like with the whole thing of the invasion,
Yeah.
having Dosu go after Gara makes no sense.
Yeah, it doesn't.
Like, it makes zero sense. Like, potentially have the scene where Genma gets... Genma?
Hayate.
Get the-
Hayate Gamma. No, Hayate Gecko. Gemma
Yeah.
Shiranui.
Yeah.
Shiranui. Yeah.
Have the part where Hayate gets taken out, because Hayate had already kind of not really been displayed as anything.
Yeah.
But he was already... he was Jonin?
Yeah, no, I think it's just a Chuunin.
Might have just been a Chuunin. Whatever. But he'd already had some level of a minor display with stopping Neji.
Yeah.
Have that scene and then have him get taken out by Gara for overhearing just this conversation and all that sort of stuff. Like, have that happen.
Yeah.
Without, like, Dosu getting killed off by effectively an ally and going after an ally makes no sense. So it implies that Orochimaru didn't tell the Sound Ninja they were teaming up with the Sand.
Yes.
Which is stupid from a military perspective.
The more we do these commentaries, the more I'm like, there's a lot more things we could have done commentary about as part of the writing of the series.
Yeah.
But I think that it's good that we're able to look back and see our missteps.
But it also would have gotten way too heavy on, like, analysing stuff to just, like, go with this. Because, like, what could you have done in this scene?
Because it's such a quick scene in the manga as well. And
yeah, it's just, like, almost off-screen.
Yeah.
With how quick it is. So, like, how could you have written that in a way that would call attention to the fact that they shouldn't have been fighting?
Yeah.
Because you don't change the outcome. Like, you
Maybe
potentially could have had a bit of dialogue between these two. But
yeah.
there's no confrontation. They're just having a chat. So there's no real way to do it in a way that actually works.
Maybe it could have been something like, hey, we're on the same team, yeah? Yeah? I'm going to kill you now. What?
Yeah. That
Or something less in the
Which is
moment,
kind
more
of boring.
workshopped. But, yeah, I don't really know if there's any other way we could have really handled that.
Yeah, but either way, it's fucking dumb.
Yeah. And I'm pretty sure this is the only dialogue Chris Dowling ever has as Sparky.
Okay.
Like with another character. I think he's got one line later, but this is the only dialogue.
Yeah.
Are the Sand siblings ready to move forward with the plan?
Yes. Once they receive Lord Orochimaru's signal, they'll move into place.
Signal? Orochimaru, flag.
Good. Soon,
I told you I love you as Hayate.
Oh yeah, I had a lot of fun with this one.
Village with 3 sound genin, 4 sand ninja, 3 of which are genin, and the other is you, myself, and the sound 4.
Not a great plan.
Thank you.
Yeah.
That was his entire invasion plan. And it doesn't make any sense. So it's not a great plan.
What was the plan?
To
destroy Konoha?
Yeah.
Okay.
Like, it just doesn't...
Why did Orochimaru want to destroy Konoha?
I don't know.
Why did the Sand want to destroy Konoha?
I don't know. I can't remember.
Like, because
it was ever stated.
at least with like Neji, we establish that a bunch of Cloud Ninja killed, but came for Hinata and got killed by Hinata's father, resulting in Neji's father getting killed off.
Yeah.
And then
sealing
the Byakugan so they couldn't steal it.
Yeah.
But like there's a little animosity there, but there's no animosity between the Sand and Konoha that we're aware of.
Yeah.
Because was it every country was in the Third Great Ninja War?
Yeah, I'm sure they would have been.
Because was the Cloud part of that?
Yes, because that's the one that Minato fought B and the Raikage in.
Yeah. So they could have set up something that we're really friggin' tearing the series apart.
Yeah.
But they didn't set anything up to have the Sand angry at Konoha for anything.
And again, if we're forgetting something that was in the manga, let us know in the comments below.
We are. That's the thing. Like Orochimaru has his own problems with Konoha.
Yeah.
But it's not like Konoha had anything that was going to be a problem because Shukaku is part of the Sand.
Yeah.
Like all the major villages have their own Jinchuriki, which aren't established as Jinchuriki at this stage. They're just demons.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's like no real they hadn't set up the power system of the Biju being the fact that the Ninetales is like the strongest and Shukaku is the weakest.
Yeah.
They just had introduced these demons. So there's no reason for the Sand to be a part of the plan at all. Like, I don't think there's anything established in the entire series that shows any level of animosity between the two countries. Also, the fact that Konoha doesn't retaliate after this.
Yeah, which they could have very
They
easily.
absolutely could have. But with the reveal that Raza was actually Orochimaru, it just, it doesn't add up.
Yeah.
And that's my thoughts.
I like your thoughts.
Shall we continue?
Yes, please.
Now, about our friend hiding in the shadows of
I love the eye thing. We didn't edit that. That's in the original.
Nice.
And I love Naruto humming that theme.
Not at the finals.
Yep.
I'm fighting your cousin in the
So one of the things we try to do throughout the series is we try to make the endgame couples make sense. And this scene is a big part of that.
Yeah.
And trying to work their relationship to be a little bit more organic.
Yeah.
I had no idea who you were.
Because before that, it's just like
I'm falling for you.
irrelevant.
Like, that line's in there. Like, I like weird girls like you or whatever it is. But,
Fuck is Sasuke.
Sasuke's missing? What a drag.
also, your Shikamaru voice is really inconsistent in these episodes.
Is it really?
Yeah.
What a drag.
Like, it's got the in there, but sometimes it's...
Okay.
Half of Konoha. On behalf of our
Okay, so...
to welcome the fourth.
That was a struggle to say.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, he had a lot of trouble saying Konohagakure. So it was that was just, I'm like, you know what? Let's just run with that. Let's just use that. And I think the scene is better for it, and it adds depth to Hiruzen's character as well.
Yeah.
Who would like to say a few words?
Let the tournament begin.
Okay, I'm pausing a lot, but this episode is so laden with stuff.
Yeah.
So when Raza said let the tournament begin.
That was my impression of your Orochimaru.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let the tournament begin.
I was like making that my impression of yours with sand.
Yeah. And I think, didn't I deliver the line as Orochimaru and then you imitate it? Is that what we did?
I think so, yes.
Yeah.
Or I delivered the line and you imitated it.
Something like that. But we were trying, either way, we did try to make sure we got it as authentic to Orochimaru as we could.
Yeah.
To make sure that it feel like just so that the reveal at the start of the next episode made sense.
Yeah, it's very much that Harry Potter thing where it's Hermione Granger it's like Emma Watson impersonating Helena Bonham Carter.
Yeah.
Impersonating Emma Watson.
Yeah.
That's sort of like...
I think that's where we went. Yeah. Like
that's where we were going with that.
Yeah. So I think that... Yeah, I think that was absolutely how we did it. But you also had a time before that, like a line before that, that was the whole Lord Farquaad speech. Some of you may die.
But it's a sacrifice I wanted to make, yeah.
But it didn't end up working.
Yeah.
And I don't know why it didn't work. It may have just been the timing of the lines. It didn't work with Orochimaru's character in the end. Yeah. From a delivery perspective, which is no fault of yours. Your performance was great.
Thank you.
But... Did you just say I know? But I think that, it just didn't work. So they let the tournament begin. And then we get to go into this.
Yep.
Considering that Sasuke is not here yet, his match will be postponed due to the inherent favoritism of the gathered masses.
Which is true.
The first match is going to be Naruto Uzumaki.
I love the art here.
Hokage against Twiggy Hyuga. Ring the bell.
I always forget about that. I actually love how we did this fight scene. It was one of the most involved fight scenes we'd done up until this point as well, aside from Lee versus Gaara.
Yeah.
So having Lee versus Gaara in the background of having done that fight to then be able to come into this fight,
do you know why
it was just
honor and to be the strongest I can be?
Considering it's the first you've mentioned it, no.
Which is true.
Yeah.
In the Hyuga clan, there are those who protect the main family, known as the branch line.
Like Thomas's branch line?
Where
a fucking idiot.
And hence the Twiggy Hyuga.
Yeah.
It was also used to control us, to punish.
If we were to go back now, I'd actually improvise some, edit in some efforts for Hanabi and Hayashi.
Yes.
Because they've got a couple of moments in here where it would be appropriate to have those.
Yeah.
Like or Hinata there, for example. It's just one of those hindsight things.
Yeah.
And I think I did get Hanabi there, for example.
Member of the village hidden in the clouds. I hate them, and I hate everyone who looked down on me.
So, but that's just the hindsight thing. But I think the intention originally was to keep it silent, to let the what is a beautifully delivered monologue have its space as a performance and not detract from that. Also, that monologue I edited a lot.
No, really?
I mean, no shit I did. But originally there was a line in there about hating people from the cloud.
Mm-hmm.
And...
Well, there is a line about that.
Well, it was a lot more racially...
Oh, yeah, okay.
Because that was an original idea we were going to have with Neji, that he was going to... But in the end, we didn't like that.
It would have worked really well if his seal was the original seal.
Yes.
Like the irony of that is
Yeah.
actually like, if it had been the original Manji, which, as
Isn't
people
what-
know,
Yeah.
is a symbol that was co-opted by another group who
Yep.
existed in a European country during the 1940s.
Yep. But we didn't want to...
It would have worked very well.
Exactly. And I think that... but also not really, like, also came down to an idea of, like, I don't really... It was fine in the writing stage, but as we worked it and we workshopped it, it's like, that's not really the kind of jokes we also want to tell.
I think that joke could have worked, but it depends on the character. And I think that it's based on the character. Like, not Mazuko, Lanny and Kaiser have put it pretty well with a lot of their commentary stuff, is that it's a terrible line, but it's okay because it's a villain saying it.
Yeah.
Whereas Neji is a villain in this moment, but goes on to be much more heroic with things like the search for Sasuke or the
Sasuke retrieval and
arc.
sacrificing himself to save Naruto and Hinata.
Exactly.
War.
So he's a jaded person. He's kind of more like your Vegeta.
Yeah.
In that regard, but then obviously isn't used as effectively.
I'd say probably closer to Tien with the Buddhism aspect.
Yeah. So it doesn't make sense for him to have, I guess, evil ideals.
Yeah.
Which, that's sort of one of those things that you sort of do. If you're gonna make a character be racist or anything like that, you make sure it's a villain character. It's like this person is evil. We have established them as evil, so they have evil ideals.
Yeah.
This is not something we think, but this is an evil person to help to portray that evilness. He is something that is a bad thing.
Yeah, and it just doesn't work. We also, in the very next episode, another character, at the time also voiced by Chris Dowling, Tobirama, would also speak hatred about the Uchiha clan.
Which, Tobirama, that's kind of his thing.
But it also is
he hates the Uchiha.
Like, to just have that and then have that as well.
Yeah.
Like, everything you said, yes. And also, just doubling up on the two hateful characters, episode, it just didn't work. So this is this is why we go through so many passes as well, like with writing and with improvisation and with working the scripts and everything. We want to make sure that the characters are true to themselves.
Yeah, 100%.
And
because realistically, Neji also gets over all that trauma. In this fight.
Yeah, exactly. Like it would, and it's so one note to have that as well. So it's that's our little thing about that.
Yeah. Rant over.
We'll see about that. All right, Fox, share your energy with me.
He's just like me.
You're waiting for that exact moment.
It's over, Naruto.
Tenden's first line.
Yes.
Paper, scissors.
Yeah,
Yamcha. And why was Yamcha there? Yamcha is covering a shadow clone. Because there was a shadow clone there, and narratively we hadn't set that up to be there.
Yeah.
So Impolitebi suggested just put Yamcha there. So yeah, we put Yamcha there. And I recolor graded Yamcha slightly to match the
scene.
The color grading of the scene a little bit more.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a Yamcha character. And a lot of people miss that, genuinely. Or they say, "Hey, is that Yamcha?"
So good.
But I love it. And I think it's missed because the gi is the same color as Naruto's jumpsuit. So it works so well.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
The match is over.
Rest assured,
Ring the bell.
I'm king of the pirates. I mean, when I'm Hokage.
Is that the first time he says he wants to be king of the pirates?
I think he said it earlier as well. Like episode 1 or 2.
First time he says believe it in a... Second time he says believe it.
Yeah.
The artist formerly known as Kankuro. I give up. All right then. Advances.
I love how we did this.
Shikamaru Nara versus the artist formerly known as Tamari.
Yeah, I can't be bothered. I give up.
God damn it.
I'm gonna go take a nap.
Gara, do you give up? No. Oh, thank God.
I love how we did this.
Oh, thank God.
Sorry, we're late.
And I think this first mention of the Sage of the Six Parts.
Insisted on having sunny side up eggs for breakfast, and I can only cook poached eggs.
Reference to Sunnyside Battle.
Get your sandy ass down here right now so that we can fight!
This bitch.
Now, you pushed back on that a little bit.
Which part?
Just the Sasuke delivery and then this bitch.
Did I?
Yeah. I don't know why.
No, neither can I.
Or maybe it was Imp that did.
Imp might have, but...
Yeah. Someone pushed back on it, and it was someone in the creative team, so it was one of us.
Maybe it was you. You probably pushed back on it.
Yeah, probably. I re-record all my lines like 50 times. Because I'm just never happy.
Why is no one ringing the bell?
Oh, the Danzo setup. I love that we set up Danzo.
On the bell because it kept waking me up from my nap. Ring it again, and I will.
Because otherwise he's not set up until Shippuden.
Yeah, so it feels right to set him up here. Because it makes sense to set him up here as well. So car brakes you can kind of hear in there as well.
Isn't that?
That's right. I taught
Guy's first line of the episode.
That's a cool bit where he's like just ripping the floor apart.
Yeah. Ino does say, "Bro!"
Then I called it.
Yeah. Which makes sense because Kakashi's clairvoyant, bitch. I would mirror that shot nowadays.
Yeah.
Because it's coming down this side, but the rest of the scene is framed as it came down the other side.
Yeah.
It's just inconsistent.
What's this, Saratobi? Are you getting tired?
Of course I'm getting tired. This tournament has been uneventful, and it's nearly time for my nap. Where's my warm milk?
And improvisation.
I need to help you enter never-ending sleep, then. Execute Order 66.
And as you can hear, the Order 66 music in the background as well.
I'm glad I thought of the Order 66.
Yeah, same.
Genjutsu,
Release.
Really?
Do.
And our first cliffhanger.
Yeah.
And of course, we're still keeping up the Simpsons movie
Yep.
thing.
With me still outnumbering everyone again. Mm-hmm. Gets worse with Sasuke retrieval.
Oh god. And we always use the exact same shot for Iruka.
Yep. Always. Otherwise, every other character has it in the actual episode.
That's a bad omen if I ever saw one.
So I included that post-credit scene just to try, because our hands were tied. We had to set up why Hiruzen's nose suddenly had a crack on it.
Yeah.
But otherwise, that would have been cut, and would have been the first time an actor was ever completely cut from an episode. So Omega was, I'm like, I remember I messaged Omega, I'm like, dude, I'm really sorry I've had to cut you from the episode. And he's like, that's okay, I understand. I'm like, but you're in the post-credit scene. He's like, oh, okay. But yeah, that was our first
split episode.
Split episode out of, well, it's not our first split episode, that was 2 and 3. But this one is the first cliffhanger.
Yeah.
And we do another cliffhanger with Kimimaro later in the series. But for this, it just as we were editing, we were building up to execute Order 66 and everything, and building the music, bum, 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 bum. It just made sense to end the episode there. It felt right.
It was a natural break. Also, the episode would have been like 24 minutes at that point.
Yeah, can't imagine doing a half-an-hour episode.
Right. Which back then, was completely inconceivable.
Yeah. Nowadays,
every episode's fucking 25 minutes long.
Don't remind me. But that's because we're also allowing more time for jokes.
Yeah.
And giving jokes room to breathe. And I think that that's almost more important. Like, at this point in time, quite often we would cut jokes in favor of narrative.
Yeah.
And I think that worked very much to our detriment. Because it's like, oh shit, we have to get this in here. We have to make sure we include this and blah, blah, blah. And we still do that, but now we don't do it at the detriment of jokes.
Yeah.
And if we do cut things, normally it's narrative stuff and we just do it later. Like in episode 6 of Digimon, which the Hawkmon and Armadillomon stuff that we spoke about earlier.
Yeah. We were completely rejigging the episode.
Yeah. But this episode as well, we'll talk about it more when we do episode 5's commentary. But that left us in a really awkward position with that because it was only about 6 minutes long, the back half of the episode, what was left. And it just didn't work. So we'll talk more about that when we get to episode 5. But episode 4, I really like this episode.
Yeah, it's an alright episode. It's okay. Not my favourite episode.
Oh?
I don't know what my favourite episode is, but it's not this one. Not that I have a problem with this episode. It's just like... This is not my favorite episode. I think that it really struggles with that balance, and I think it's because it wasn't. We didn't touch this half of the episode to restructure it as a 2-part episode. With Konoha Crush. Yeah. Which with the with episode 2 and 3, we restructured them in the edit slightly, and episode 5 especially we restructured. Yeah.
7 and 8 we did the same. We restructured them, but for episode 4 we didn't, and I think it
impacted it.
Yeah. At this point as well, we're already in lockdown by the time this episode released. And I lost a lot of time working on the episode as well because I went and got married when this episode was in production, and it also came down to the wire as well. And this is no fault of anybody's, but RisingAvenged also only recorded this episode a couple of months before it was made. He recorded it in January.
Yeah, he was the last to record. I think everyone else had even done pickups at that stage.
Yeah, he came
That was also before you changed your editing style as well, because you were originally editing like chronologically. Like you wouldn't edit a scene until everyone had recorded.
Yeah.
Whereas now you will, like, if I've done all my recording and say ShyGhost hasn't, or more accurately, you and Impolite haven't recorded, which you guys are always the last two to record.
That's deliberate, by the way.
But if, like, now, you would do you do most of the episode and have just the gaps where those other people are talking.
Which saves a lot of time.
Which now are passes that we have.
Yeah.
Which allows for a lot more, which actually allows us to do a lot more editing, funnily enough.
Yeah.
On episodes, because inside of this whole thing, I struggle a lot with reading a script and being able to fully interpret it and work out what doesn't work.
Yeah.
Whereas if I look at a pass, I can see a lot more accurately what needs to be fixed and can make a lot more feedback at that time.
And at this point in time, we weren't doing many passes.
I don't think we were doing any passes.
I think lockdown era forced our hand a lot with doing passes. Because people were recording a lot more remotely than now. We had to get stuff out to people so that they could record remotely.
Yeah.
That sort of thing. So it kind of forced our hand in every possible best way. It's like that, again, going back to episode 6 of Digimon, like there was that one scene on the cliff that wasn't working. And you and Impolite both said it's not working. I'm like, oh, I think it is. No, it wasn't. And it needed to be broken and fixed. And look, don't get me wrong, I love what we did with this, but if we were to have adjusted this slightly, I think we would have included scenes that were written like Gara visiting Lee in the hospital.
Yeah.
That was a cut scene. That is written. That is recorded. It is somewhere. But it's just...
we just cut it for the time.
We cut it for time. I don't really know
we
where...
We probably could have also done a bit more with the Toad something.
Yeah, with Gamabunta and Gamatats and... Or was it Gamakichi that appears?
Gamakichi. Gamatats doesn't actually appear until
later. That's right.
The Search for Tsunade. Because Gamakichi is summoned by Jiraiya, and then Naruto tries to summon...
and then Gamatats.
Gamatats, and then...
There's also the Tadpole stuff. We could have done more with Jiraiya being a perv as well.
Yeah.
So I think that's... Yeah, I think that...
Yeah, I think there was definitely some more stuff we could have done.
Yeah.
And had a bit more of a build in, but that's the nature of these things. And that's helped us change and grow over time.
Yeah, and I think it's... so this episode we learned a lot, like the episode 3, like 3N, 3N1, 3N2, It helped us drive what the future of the series is. And you'll notice once we get past episode 5 into episode 0, episode 6, 7, 8, 9, and everything else that comes after that with Naruto, there's a huge change in the way that we approach the edit of an episode.
Yeah.
And we also said... No, I'll save that for when we do episode 5 commentary, actually. But, yeah, I feel this episode came to a natural conclusion. I was really happy with it. With the way that it built. But looking back and having eyes on and being able to have this discussion, because we don't talk about the episodes in between unless it's from an editing perspective.
Yeah.
So being able to... And like, you and I have spoken about this episode in years at this point.
No.
So it's good to be able to get in and to have that discussion and see what we could have done better. Like, just mirroring that one shot that I mentioned.
For sure.
So yeah. Anyway, that's all my thoughts about it. So anything you've got to add?
No.
Cool.
Okay.
Awesome. We'll be back next time with episode 5 commentary, which of course covers Konoha Crush. And oh boy, there is a lot to talk about with that episode.
Sure.
So if you haven't already, like and subscribe, leave a comment with your favorite moment down below, blah, blah, blah. You know how YouTube works at this point. And we'll see you all next time.
Bye.